Hello and welcome to Points of Interest. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, along with my co-host, James, over here.
Hey, guys.
If you're new to the show, each week we collect video game news and stories from around the internet, bring them to you in a nice little concise package. It takes about an hour, so sit down, get comfy, let's get started.
Yeah.
You can get the show on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher for the audio versions, YouTube, VidMe, and Facebook for the video versions. Follow us on Twitter at IR Games. Stay up to date on what we're doing. We'll tweet out links, questions of the day, what's your favorite pair of socks, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like my white ones personally with the gray bottoms.
I kind of like the no-show. I have these like blue and gray striped ones.
Huh.
But at the end of the day, they're socks. No one sees them. Who cares? James, what have you been playing lately?
Boy, I haven't played a lot this last week. I was gone for the weekend. I didn't have access to a gaming console, so I was stuck watching sports all weekend.
Gosh, what a fate.
But so what little I did play, I did get to play Battlefront 2 beta. We're going to be talking about Battlefront 2 later in the show, so we don't want to like harp on it right now. But in terms of the gameplay, it just felt really good. Felt like a natural extension of the first game. It felt like a Star Wars game and not a Battlefield game with the Star Wars skin on it.
Yep. Which we did say we have 2 Let's Plays up.
Yep.
Over on our channel, youtube.com/invertedreality. You will see them over there. There's 2 videos. One with the
Galactic Assault.
Galactic Assault is the walking one, and the flying version,
Starfighter Assault.
Starfighter Assault. Yep.
2 for
So, hey man, that was as much as I played a Battlefront 2, not because I didn't want to, but because I had other games that I wanted to play more.
That's true.
Than Battlefront 2.
No, that's fair. Plus,
One of them-
you knew what to expect in Battlefront 2.
I did, and it was kind of like it's a beta. Like there's a couple maps I know I'll play like a couple hours. I downloaded it, so I just I spent 2 hours downloading it to just now play it. It's still on my system.
There's one that we played together for a little bit.
Yeah. We played Everybody's Golf.
Boom.
This game was just delightful.
It's adorable.
I rented it over the weekend.
You did?
Yeah, I played like 10 hours of it.
Wow.
Like
Nice. Where'd you rent it from?
Redbox.
Okay, nice.
Just the Hy-Vee on the way home. I was like, I'm gonna
That's
stop
fair.
and see if they have Everybody's Golf.
Yeah.
Picked it up, played like 5 hours on whatever it was, like Friday night, and then 10 hours on Saturday morning, or 5 hours on Saturday morning.
That's
It's just like-
impressive.
Just having a good time.
Are you gonna buy it now?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like I
You think it wore off after a few hours?
don't think so. I was still having a good time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was really like looking forward to the next game I was getting ready to play. It was kind of like on my mind. But this game was super fun. If you're a fan of Hot Shots Golf.
Yep.
It's
Same
just
thing.
The predecessor.
Yeah. The Everybody's Golf is what Hot Shots Golf was known as all around the world except for here in America. And they finally changed the name. It's been 10 years since a console release for this game, so it's fine to change the name. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, it's super fun. It controls real easy. It's real like sharp graphics. It's smooth. The sounds are great.
Yeah, it feels arcadey, but still some sim elements. Like you got to pay attention to the wind, you got to pay attention to the club, like the lie of your ball, like the angle your feet are at. So
and you can change. I did mess with. Oh, you can't really see it down there, but as you start the shot, your D-pad comes up, and you don't like move on the ball where you hit. You're just like doing it. Put top spin, back spin, go left or right.
I did see that later.
So it's great. It's another fun aspect of the game that you just try to add in as you go, and you just slowly get better and better and better, get better clubs, play better people, play different courses.
And I like the upgrade system in it. It was get better shots, like get better power, get better control, like accurate shots. That part of your club goes up. So if you hit your driver, your 1 wood with 100% power and right on the middle accuracy, your control is going to go up and your power is going to go up. And doing better gets your club better. And it's only for that.
Get better with the clubs you use. So like when you chip onto the green, like you land within a certain amount of yardage, your control goes up. And if you put backspin on it, like your backspin goes up.
Right.
This is the next game we've been playing.
Thought I turned the timer up. I was wrong.
so
Everybody's Golf's good.
Yeah, Everybody's Golf is great. But I was in the back of my mind the whole time, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain was free for PlayStation Plus this month. If you haven't picked it up, I would highly encourage you try it.
Yeah.
With the caveat that it is Metal Gear Solid. This ain't your mama's RPG.
No.
Like this is, if you've never played Metal Gear Solid before, expect a lot of story. Each mission is like credited as like a movie, basically. So it pops in. So when we were watching the first thing, like those sunglasses came up and they popped up with a brand. It said featuring brand sunglasses.
Right.
And each time you start, it's like featuring Big Boss, featuring Revolver Ocelot.
It does that
featuring
every
Kazarai
mission?
Miller. And it's not as long as that is. It's just like as you're flying in, because it's your loading screen, it does that. And then you finish it, it rolls a really short,
man.
10 seconds of credits because you're at the end of it for like level designer Hideo Kojima, obviously because he puts his name all over this game.
Literally everywhere.
But
You like
the
it so
gameplay's really fun. I like it a lot. It is a game for me. It is not a game for you.
No, I can't do it. You can. I don't have the patience. I don't have the time to invest into it. I just don't want to.
Yeah, it's very. It's not necessary. You don't have to go stealth, but it is encouraged highly to go stealth.
Right.
So I mean, the way I play it, just it's easy for me to get immersed in that world of I'm rolling up on my objective. I'm 200 meters out.
Yeah.
I hop off my horse.
Mhm.
I crawl to I've ridden my horse up to a higher point, and I belly crawl up to the edge of the point.
Right.
Look with my binoculars, find all the guys. How do I want to get in? Who do I want to take out? Who am I okay not taking with me? Who do I want to take back to Mother Base?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So then you
Okay.
run through and take them out in
Mhm.
that order. And if you screw up, you can just shoot everyone.
Yeah.
Like eventually your suppressor will blow up, and you will shoot everyone. I just played a mission. Took
Mhm.
me like an hour and a half to get through.
Yeah.
A lot of that was like me going slow and like looking for opportunities to do things. And at the end, a goof that lets bodies out in the open, and they
Mm.
found him. And so I started ripping off shots and just killed everyone. And then ended up just like taking up the base and then finishing the mission. So
Yeah, no, it's just not my thing. We played it a little bit for initial reactions. Well, you played it.
we played
'cause
it a lot.
I
of
could
it
not
for
be.
initial reaction.
Yeah. I mean, each mission was sitting there like the prologue was an hour plus, and
we
I
wanted
mean,
to get to
died
like
a couple times.
we wanted to actually get into the desert and the
And you
open
said
world
you
of
did
it.
the first mission, and it was what, an hour and a half or so for you? Like once you get out of the prologue, like at least
It wasn't super long.
wasn't super long.
This last one I did was long because the first one, because we goofed in the game we did, you're supposed to get some intel at the first place you go and then go to the main mission.
Yeah.
Whole thing maybe takes you 30, 45 minutes, but
Right.
yeah. But it's fun. I like it. I'll keep playing it. Will I beat it? Probably not. But because
You never know.
I don't anticipate myself beating it before Super Mario Odyssey comes out.
You're gonna switch at that point, I'm sure.
Switch. Yes, funny pun. Yeah, I also picked up this recently, like yesterday, I picked up Stardew Valley on the Switch.
Jeez, way to
I didn't think
prep
about
the
it until right now.
slideshow.
Yeah, I missed
Jeez.
it. I picked up Stardew Valley on the Switch because I got a flight to Chicago later this month and wanted something to play. And then my wife was playing
Check
the
it out.
PlayStation, so I was like, I'm gonna pick up Stardew Valley. It was like $15.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
it
had
just
on
came
PC.
out. Just came out.
Yeah, I had it on PC. I just never played it because I got to get the laptop out and start it up. and
Inconvenient.
It's, blah, it's just boring.
Oh, it takes an extra 20 seconds.
It takes an extra like 10 minutes.
That's true. It was on the PC. Not
Yeah,
your,
and then I'm
not your
playing it
Mac.
like on my lap, and it's hot and it's uncomfortable, and I'm like,
Yep.
man, I'm
All right,
not
I can
into
do that.
this. So I got it, and it's just way more fun on the Switch. So if you're into kind of like, yeah,
Isn't it like
you should
growing
check
your
out
own
Stardew
farm
Valley.
or something. right?
Yeah, but it's like a farm / RPG kind of thing. Like it's a lot deeper. There is combat in it, and others like you explore the town and do missions for people, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty fun.
Okay, I'll think about it.
I would recommend it.
Not.
All right, moving on.
All right, what's up? First topic today.
First topic today comes from Eurogamer. Ghost Recon Wildlands is free to play this weekend on console and PC.
What?
So
the
not
whole
huge.
thing?
Yeah, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yep, promotion runs alongside the new, sort of alongside. I think the actual release of this PvP mode is out today as we're recording it. 2
Yeah,
days ago,
so
as
2
this
days
comes out.
October 10th.
October 10th, this comes out. But it's a new PvP mode. It's 4v4, 8 maps. There's 12 different classes, and it looks like it's 4 classes with 12 or 3 classes with 4 different breakouts.
Okay.
Within each class, it looks like. I could be wrong. Correct me below if I am. Season pass players will get 1 week early access to the newer stuff coming out. So not necessarily this, but
Mhm.
as they release more DLC for this kind of stuff. Free player, it'll be free for everyone. It just comes sooner to season pass people. And it has a competitive mode.
Mhm. Just the
that's-
first one, obviously.
So that's kind of it. There wasn't a whole lot of info on it. I mean, it's 4v4, run of the map, kill your friends.
Yeah, I mean, we played in the open beta that they had
We did.
right before the game released. It was pretty interesting. It is free officially Thursday, October 12th until the 15th. So Thursday through Sunday is when the game's free, if you're looking at the date. So it
Yep.
starts
So
today. If you're
through
watching this,
Sunday.
go ahead and start the download while you're at work, so it'll be ready when you're home if you want to play. We enjoyed it. It was it's good. It's an
was-
Ubisoft game, so you know what to expect with open world stuff.
It was also a Ghost Recon game.
The
So-
driving is was horrendous. It could be better. Maybe it's better,
I don't think it is.
but I doubt it. It's probably terrible. It was so wildly sensitive, and it was funny, and it was fun to experience.
Yeah.
But in terms of authenticity, it was not good. With a lot of the game based around transportation and stuff, it was kind of annoying.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you get used to the longer you play the game. kind of
Exactly.
thing.
Just like driving in Watch Dogs.
Yep.
Watch Dogs 2 was better. Watch Dogs was awful.
It was really bad.
Horror. It was actually very similar to Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah, weird.
So it's interesting. I might check it out. We haven't played since then. I would be kind of interested in the PvP. I don't know if this is a game I would still get though. I mean,
I
if
don't
we're
think
talking
we
like big
would.
open world, the environment doesn't really excite me. It's a desert.
Yeah. The kind of the premise of the game speaks to me a little bit.
Mhm.
Where you're going through and you're kind of freeing zones and whatnot. I even did that. I mean, that was the big kind of like gameplay loop that hooked me in Just Cause 3.
Yep.
As much as I didn't like that game, I just have a thing for like, all right, there's like civilization to be liberated. I'm gonna go do that.
Well, like Mad Max. Mad Max
yeah,
is the same
Mad
way
Max
with
is
you.
the same way. Like I will not play the story at all and just like go through to the farthest I can go to liberate all these settlements because I can look at a map and see progression.
Yeah.
I can see goodness happening.
Yeah, which I mean, I like that. Don't get me wrong, but there's a limit. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't really get into Mad Max, and it was for that. It just there was never something that hooked me in Mad Max. Everything just felt like it was a step off. So I don't know. I'll
Yep.
check it out. It's cool that it's free. So if you guys want, definitely check it out now, so you don't have to worry about it when it's not free.
Exactly. Give it a try. Moving on.
All right.
Another article from Eurogamer.
Less
And
positive.
hot dang, if we haven't talked about loot boxes every week for the last 6 weeks.
It feels like it,
Good
man.
gracious, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has a loot crate problem instead of a progression system. So basically, if you don't know,
Sorry,
Star Wars Battlefront 2,
I'm annoyed.
the only way to get new abilities and weapons in Battlefront 2 is from opening loot crates bought either with in-game currency or real-world currency, price TBD.
What?
Yep, so instead of leveling up by just playing the game like you do and other stuff, you wait for drops, which isn't a new concept. Destiny does this at a certain level. Once you reach level 20, you play the story, then you start
Power
the,
level
the gear
drops.
treadmill for power, but this is a little bit different.
A little bit awfler.
Either you randomly receive the ability or weapon directly from the loot crate, or you randomly receive an amount of scrap to go towards eventually crafting it. Although scrap costs are high and amounts received torturously low. I totally put this like paragraph in twice, and I was like, "Boy, that looks familiar." It gets worse when you consider there are bronze, silver, and gold versions of each star card, plus a fourth tier. I'm not sure the name of, according to the article.
It looks silver, but probably like platinum, or something.
if I had to guess.
douchey like that.
For instance, Boba Fett has a star card ability called Death from Above, which grants him damage reduction while jetpacking using the rocket barrage. Its lowest tier damage reduction, bronze, is 50%. Its highest tier is 100%. It's a really big
This
difference,
is large. It's
especially when you account for the fact that you can buy these star card packs. It'd be easier if you had a big pile of money to spend instead of a stack of loot crates, but Battlefront 2 is a full price game that is essentially pay to win on the multiplayer side.
it's so annoying. Like we played the open beta, we get into it, gameplay feels really smooth, feels really nice. You have like your own personal level, like your character is level 7, level 8, level 9, and you get experience and you do things. What I really like in the game was the battle point system, where by doing better in the game, you can then go and play as the hero rather
Yeah.
than finding a random card stashed somewhere.
That part was way better than one.
That's way better. Gameplay itself was great, but having all of this equipment, all these star cards in loot boxes sucks. It doesn't necessarily suck because they're hard to earn, because they're not hard to earn. In the beta, it was taking three or four full matches. You could earn a loot box. They have challenges to give you loot box for it. So that's not the part I think that bothers me, because they said that the rates are going to be different in the real game anyway. So they could be better in terms of how quickly you earn loot boxes in game. But at the end of the day, you have people that can pay to get these boxes, and you could spend $200 and you could all of a sudden have all the equipment. You have all the star cards maybe for your class that you want to use, or your hero. You've got all the upgrades, and you can just jump right in. And someone that's using and relying on the in-game loot boxes, in-game currency, is just not going to have that. And sure, I may be better than you, but what if your gun is like the highest tier and has 2 attachments on it, and I have the starting gun and no attachments, and I don't have any ability swap outs and stuff. And that's all because you bought it. So it doesn't matter how they adjust, how quickly you get loot boxes or how much the currency costs or any of that stuff, or when you get scrap parts or anything like that. At the end of the day, people with more money can pay to beat you. And there's going to be some exceptions, obviously, there always is, but that's not a model I'm comfortable with.
No.
So sadly, I had to cancel my pre-order. Like, I'm not going to waste my time with that. Like, maybe they'll come out with a thing that shows us that that's not the case,
Yeah.
but it certainly seems like that's where they're going. We've got a month and a week until release date.
This is one of those things with loot boxes that we've talked about forever, since loot boxes kind of really came into the mainstream on consoles.
Right.
That we're fine with paying for in-game content past the initial price of the game.
Yeah.
As long as it's cosmetic, as long as it doesn't give you, an advantage over somebody else in the game.
Right.
And so now it's like, okay, you drop a couple $100s on the game. All right, I've unlocked all this stuff. Now paying for it to still get you random drops. Right?
Right. Yeah, still random.
So, you're still taking a risk when you throw your money in there.
Yeah.
But you can still keep paying until you get what you want. And you're like, okay, now I can go play.
Yeah. And the bigger problem with this is that leveling your characters based on how many cards you have of them. You don't even have to equip them. So let's say you get 5 cards for your assault class and I have none because I just started the game. Now you're maybe level 10 on that character. So you can equip twice as many star cards as I can. Or you're level 15. Now you can equip all 3 of them. And I haven't even unlocked the first slot yet.
Yep.
And so you're using these modifiers and these ability replacements. It's stupid. I don't know why they're making you level classes by gaining star cards. Like if you just leveled them through experience and unlock stuff that way, I would feel a little bit better about it. But since loot boxes are the only way to get new things without having a stupid amount of scrap parts, and we're talking stupid. I probably opened 6 or 7 loot boxes from like the daily bonuses and the ones from the challenge unlocked, probably 7 or 8. And I got scrap parts twice, and it was like 20. And to buy a mod for one gun, you're talking 100 scrap parts.
Yeah.
So conceivably, you might have to go through 10 or 15 loot boxes to maybe get enough to get one mod for one gun for one class. They've got to make a change.
It's a really greedy system.
Yes.
Now, a point I heard, and this does not justify this model of loot boxes, was that in getting rid of the season pass price.
Mm-hmm.
So before, what you had was you buy Battlefront, and then with Battlefront 1, you bought a $40 or $50 season pass.
Right.
And then you got all the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Now with Battlefront 2, all the DLC is free, which is great.
Yes.
We love that. Problem is, it still costs developer money to make DLC. Season passes used to pay for that kind of stuff, or at least offset a lot of the cost alongside microtransactions for cosmetics and that kind of thing. Now, you put in this system that makes sense to have from a business standpoint, like a microtransaction system that people will spend money on and has made billions of dollars in the video game industry.
Right.
But the problem being it levels up characters, not makes my character look cool.
Yeah.
That's where it gets like greedy and a little like shady and underhanded, where it's like, oh yeah, this is a system so we can pay our developers, but also, in the bad way, like the NBA 2K18 way.
That's the problem. And I think part of it is we have been okay with loot boxes that give us skins and using real money to get the cosmetic stuff because the developers saw how far they could push it and say, okay, let's push it a little bit further. I don't think there's anything wrong with paying for cosmetics. I think that's perfectly reasonable. We look at where Destiny was at year 2 to year 3. They had to push back Destiny 2 because they weren't finished with it yet, and so they needed stuff for development costs. People wanted new content for Destiny while we were waiting, so they brought in Eververse, and at first everybody was up in arms, and then we saw it was emotes, and it was
shaders.
It was
and
like shaders and stuff that
doesn't matter.
Like it's all. I mean, at first, even in Eververse, it was just emotes. Like, and we learned that we could have more than one emote, and so that was cool the way that they did that, and so they've got all of a sudden this revenue stream to produce this content without making us pay for the content.
Yeah.
I am perfectly okay with that. I think that's a reasonable way to do it without alienating your player base. And they brought in the Destiny 2 Eververse and they added shaders and ships and emblems and stuff to it and then ornaments for guns, which again, I'm all okay with. All of it is stuff to make it look different. They're not giving you an advantage in it. And if there's whales out there that want to go spend $200 on Destiny Silver and get a bunch of crap, then great, because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me in PvP. It doesn't affect me going into the raid, seeing these jerks like with better guns or anything. Like that's not a thing. So that is something that I'm okay with. When we look at a pay-to-win system, like this is not a mobile platform. I didn't download this game for free.
Nope.
Like I play Golf Clash on my phone. I love it. Is it pay-to-win? Oh yeah, there's a ton
100%.
of really good clubs that are better than what I have, but I don't need those to win, and there's a really good balance there. With something like a game that I paid $60 for, I shouldn't feel like I need to spend money to compete in multiplayer, because that's what it's going to come to. And that's just, I don't know how we stop it, because there's people out there that will just buy it and do it regardless. I'm not buying the game. I canceled my pre-order. I moved it over to a better game, Super Mario Odyssey. Great. That's awesome.
Yep.
But I am one person. What do we do as consumers to say we don't like this?
Yep. Normally,
because
this
I mean,
is
the response is vote with your wallet.
exactly.
I have. What difference is it going to make?
Yeah.
What is it going to take for
You have
us?
to see a big shift, and the problem is we probably won't, right? Because
Right.
we've been wanting this Battlefront game, and for the most part, they've given us everything we've asked for.
Yeah.
We wanted single player. We wanted, it to feel more like Star Wars. We wanted better flying mechanics. We wanted different heroes and different ways to unlock it all, and we've got that all now.
Mhm.
Problem is they put this other thing in it that I don't think anybody wanted.
I just don't get it. I don't get why like they sat there at the table and thought like there had to be someone at some point is like, guys, people aren't going to like this. And so where's that conversation happening? Is it the fault of DICE? Is it the fault of EA? Like where does the blame lie in this case? And so do they have enough time to change it? You think? I mean, we've got a month. So do you think we're going to see changes, or do you think they're just going to sit on it and just deal with it?
Probably not. I mean, I don't see it happening up front in a month to take away the primary leveling mechanic of a game, where it's just like they're going to revamp the whole system entirely. Like, yeah, maybe we'll see it in 6 months.
Yeah.
A change in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at launch it's going to be this. Maybe it's balanced better.
Yeah.
Maybe you get scrap in every loot box, and you can be like, oh, I got a duplicate of this, turn it in for scrap, and you get a good amount of scrap for it, and you're guaranteed to get X amount of scrap for whatever.
Yeah, and that was
okay.
That was
Now
part
I
of
can
it.
move
Like
up.
for me, like there was a time where I got a silver version of a bronze thing I already had. So what do I do with the bronze thing? Like you can't dismantle it, I can't get rid of it. Now maybe that's just a limitation of the beta. It's something we'll see. I would love to see EA come out and either have a statement or have like a better explanation of what they're going for and what their plans are like for this specific thing. Because I think it's outraged a lot of people. I mean, it's been all over Reddit, it's been all over gaming news this week. If you guys haven't read about it, it's all over the place. So I'm just curious
For a lot of games.
what they really haven't responded. They've kind of had non-responses in their like official community managers on Reddit. Take that as grain of salt. It's Reddit, but I'm curious to see if they respond to it at all and what they have to say to maybe justify it or give us some like options going forward.
Yeah, and for those of you out there who Battlefront 2 was like your game that you were gonna get.
Yeah.
And you're really against this loot box system, I won't go as far to say don't buy Battlefront 2.
Right.
But don't buy loot boxes.
Obviously don't buy loot
I think
boxes.
if it goes out there and we see this kind of vote with your wallet system, which used to be like Tomb Raider came to Xbox first, and we didn't like the way that it happened, so we didn't buy Tomb Raider on PS4.
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. And so I mean I know a lot of people did and actually did fairly well on PS4, not as well as it would have should it have launched sooner. That's another topic, but that was a different thing. Now you can buy the game, give them your $60.
Yeah.
And then they can look at, all right, here's what they paid for the game. Here's what they paid for DLC. If they see a huge drop in this microtransactions, maybe that's the thing.
Maybe
That's like, okay, we were
part.
banking on it hitting like this number, and it actually hit this number, and we saw the news on it, and we didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, but hot diggity it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, I think the initial sales, I think they've got projections and they know what they're expecting to get and what they want to get. I would push to not buy the game and wait like 2 weeks. What I'm going to do, I'm going to buy it. Like that's an inevitability because I love the game. Therefore, I'm going to buy it used. Sure, I'll spend like $5 less, maybe. Like I'll still buy it at a pretty high price, but they're not getting a penny of my money. So I'm getting to play the game, and I'm not overly worried about being a week or two behind the idiots that are spending hundreds of dollars on loot boxes. so I get all the enjoyment of the game without the developer seeing any money. And I think that's a fair solution to what they're doing here. If you want to play it on release date, then just buy it. Fine. We're not going to tell you what to do, but that's what I'm doing.
Never go full loot box.
Never go full loot box.
And speaking of loot boxes, moving on to more loot box hate. And I hate talking about loot boxes. I'm so tired of talking about loot boxes. Shadow of War is out this week and reviews are in, and so far they are favorable.
Yep.
With one exception.
Reviews look good. You know, we pulled Polygon for this, but you could pretty much go anywhere, and all the scores are improving over the first one. They say if you like the first one, everything's improved just a little bit. Everything's tweaked. The Nemesis system is expanded. It's a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
Combat systems improved. Everything you're doing in the game is a little bit better. Looks good, feels good. All the reviews, it seems like the reviews that I've read, they've played the game, they've gotten to end game stuff, and they're talking about what the loot boxes look like.
Yep.
And we're still learning about the game. The game literally just released 2 days ago, the day we're recording this.
Yep.
But so legendary orcs come from these packs. Towards endgame, people say that they're one-time consumables, and that there's orcs that you can get in-game that are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it comes down to how much the game pushes you to use them. In the campaign, from many reviews that we've read, including the Polygon one, you can get through the main game. They don't really prompt you for it. They let you know, but it's not a thing. Like you don't get stuck there. There's no like obvious progression issue. You can get through the campaign without feeling the need to spend it. You've got in-game currency that you can use a lot. Everything I read said people were finishing it with all this in-game currency they didn't use because they didn't need it. But there's a second part to the game, right? Finishing this second part of the game gets you a bonus ending. And if you want to go to YouTube and look it up, that's fine. I don't like doing that. That takes the fun out of it.
It does.
So it's something called Shadow Wars, and it's to avoid spoilers. It's a similar thing that you've been doing throughout the game, just from a different angle, and it's cool, but it's a little grindy. And so to accelerate that, they definitely start to push the promotion to like, hey, we have some trendy loot boxes here to speed your progress.
I think this is probably the part that we were pushing that we've been talking about for weeks of like, we put these in to make the game faster. And so what we were worried about is you make the story game faster. Mm-hmm. It's actually making the end game faster.
Right. And even then, from limited scope, we don't really have like time frames on what Shadow Wars looks like or what all of it entails. But basically, by the time you get to the end game, your side quests are going to be done. Right, or you'll do them very quickly. You've got all the main quests done. There's no cutscenes. It's just this last like set of game things to do. So it's a grind. That's what everyone says. And there's a guy on Reddit had a post today. He said he's played that end game Shadow Wars for 6 to 7 hours. Hasn't purchased any loot boxes. Thinks he's got probably 2 or 3 hours to go. So we're looking at maybe 10 hours.
Yep. That
you are sort of prompted to buy loot boxes. But you don't have to. He says he's not going to. He really enjoys the game mode. He says it's fun. He says at the end of the day, the loot boxes are there to get you through it quicker. But why would you want to?
Yeah. Game's
really fun. Game's enjoyable.
Yep.
So I'm better about this.
I do feel better about it. It seems like it's going to have that gameplay loop that it's going to hook you. Like, okay, I want to keep doing this. Keep getting better, find better stuff, and get more currency and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But I definitely will get this. If I have to pick between the two, I'll probably get this before I'll get Battlefront 2.
I would agree with this.
Because I think I will get more out of this game and be bothered less by the loot boxes because I'll play through. I haven't seen anything for how long Battlefront 2 story is, but it's first-person shooter, so
10 to 12 hours maybe.
10, 12 hours if you really kind of go through and maybe do some trophy grinding.
Yeah.
But a game like this, you could be looking at 20 hours out of it, easy. 20, 30 hours because it's more of an RPG. So this, I feel like, is more worth my money up front. And I don't have to worry about loot boxes because I'm not playing against other people online.
Yep.
Still is kind of that pay to win structure, but you're kind of like paying to get to that last cutscene, which you can get for free because you have the internet.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I did that with Batman Arkham Knight.
Yep. Arkham Knight.
Because that was insane.
Yeah,
trying to do like all the Riddler trophies, and I was like, I'm not about that. Like I've finished a lot of the stuff on every game. It was better than
some of the other Arkham stuff because you didn't have to do all of like the finished tasks. You could do like 6 of the 8 or something like that. So I was able to get the ending without doing all the Riddler stuff, because the Riddler stuff is insane. You're talking
crazy.
like 400 something things to find, and you can't even find them all.
Yep.
Anyway, so
Yep.
I feel better about this game than I did 2 weeks ago. So you feel good about buying this one then?
I think I feel pretty good about buying this. I don't
Yeah.
feel like, especially after that article we read last week or 2 weeks ago of the developer being like, we balanced the whole game without loot boxes. You can play through this whole game, and even that guy on Reddit getting through a 10-hour grind. Like, okay, like I just did that with everybody's golf this weekend. Like I did that with a golf game.
That's a weekly thing in Destiny. Like that's a normal thing
Yeah.
for us. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, then you don't have to do it. That's there's nothing forcing you to do that.
That with the caveat of we do play a lot of games.
Yeah.
We spend
Agreed.
more time in games than I think the average
Obscene
consumer
amount.
does.
Yeah.
But
So do you
too
think
hard.
with all the stuff that we've heard from Monolith and WB and the stuff around the loot boxes, do you think maybe there was an overreaction with everything? I mean, obviously we don't know because we haven't played the game, but based on the reviews and stuff you've seen.
I think so, but on the flip side of that coin, I think there was a justified reaction in we weren't told where they were going to be most important.
Right.
So if they'd come out and said, hey, we're doing these loot boxes that you can get all these legendary orcs in that you'd only get in these loot boxes, we're all like, whoa, you can't do that. Like, that's kind of scummy. Why would you do that? And they go, whoa. It's just in-game. Like, there's a story and an in-game thing that if you want to play it, it's totally up to you. You don't have to play it. You will still finish the whole story without even hearing a whisper.
And you can even do it without buying the loot boxes.
Yeah. You don't even have to think about loot boxes when you're playing through the story. There is an end game piece that is, 10 hours long.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it in 5 hours or 8 hours, here's, $20. Buy some loot boxes.
Yeah.
I think if they had phrased it that way, I think it's different. But the problem was, and I'm sure for marketing reasons or embargoes or whatever, they couldn't say that. They had to come out and say, well, we have these loot boxes that you can buy to speed up the game if you want to.
Yeah.
And it just came across wrong, and it came across like, oh, well, we put a bunch of extra fluff in the game that you want to skip past.
Yeah, it seems less of an issue, and maybe we'll play the game and we'll find it's differently, and then we'll definitely come back and let you guys know if that's not the case. But I don't think that's going to happen. It's one of those situations that you really just don't know. When we look at WB and Monolith, these are not normally the people we're seeing consistent games from. We're seeing them very sparse in between. And so the last time they put out a game, loot boxes weren't even a thing.
Nope.
So it's not someone like Activision or EA that's pumping out games every 25 minutes that has experience with this kind of thing to know what they're doing. So I get that it was probably mishandled. There's been just controversy after controversy with this game, with the developer that died during the process of it. So they were making a DLC. They put him in the game as an orc, but then they were saying that some of the proceeds might not go to support his family. Then they said all of them were, but only in the United States. It's just terrible PR and terrible communication.
Yeah.
But I think everyone kind of learned their lesson and reeled it in. And we've seen like some interviews with developers that have kind of clarified things. So I feel better about this. They stepped up the way that I don't think EA will. And I think that's an important thing to think about.
And I think more to the fact, I think Monolith stepped up more than WB did in the interviews and in what they could say. It was like, hey, like, that's all. It's like the little guy that's, just in contact with the big guy. He's like, hey, this is what we wanted. And in order to put it out, like, we got to put the stuff in, appease the guy that's writing the checks. So
they'd said it, but they couldn't say it.
Yeah. You kind of put it out there, and it's like, we built it for you guys because we are you guys.
Right.
We're gamers, and we built it for gamers. And so I think that was well done by Monolith to try and like sweep up WB's mistakes. So props to them. And welcome to the loot box generation of gaming. We thought it was going to be battle royale modes. It's loot boxes.
Gosh, it's ridiculous. We're going to see battle royales with like loot boxes. You could start with the sniper rifle.
You could start with the frying pan. Shout out to PUBG. There, now we can put it in all the plugs and write PUBG in the title again because we haven't done it enough.
All right, what's next? Let's move on to something a little more positive.
Yeah, let's move on to something fun. The SNES Classic hack attempts began the moment the console was released.
Illegal hacking.
Who knew? This was a thing with the NES Classic as well.
Yep.
Hack. Did I write it down?
Probably not.
Probably not. Hack something. I'm so sorry that I did not write it down. We did it. But now it's possible to add your own ROMs into the system if you want to go through this process. Quote, there is an earlier version of the exploit, so it's quite a few steps in a reasonably complicated process, which is likely to become a bit easier in the coming few weeks. YouTuber Scalator,
Classy name right there.
wrote, quote, however, if you want to get started adding your own ROMs to the SNES Mini today, this is the only method I am aware of which will allow for this, end quote.
I mean, thing's only been out for what, like a week, 2 weeks,
Something
maybe?
like that.
Yeah,
But you got to know, like, I mean,
it's probably similarly formatted to how the NES is, so it's
Yeah.
only a matter of time before they
and at the end of the
find
day,
a way in.
this is just a physical emulator.
It is.
Like, it's all it is. So you plug it into your computer, do a few magic keystrokes,
Yeah.
and then you get to put your own SNES games on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It looks interesting. You know, I had a friend of mine show me a Raspberry Pi mod he did to basically do the same thing the NES Classic did, but do like Super Nintendo games and GameCube and Nintendo 64 and NES, all on a Raspberry Pi. You can even buy a case for it that looks like a Super Nintendo Classic or an NES Classic. So I think I'm going to go not that route, but
Wink, wink.
but is it, I mean, this was $80. Comes with some good games. If you really like that retro feel for it, hacking it is not at all
Hack-chi
a
is what it
surprise.
is.
There
Yep.
you go. So
But,
yeah, NES Classic had a tool, made it simpler to do that. I'm sure here in a couple months we will see something for the Super Nintendo. I haven't heard about a bunch of stock issues. I don't know how it's been going. There's definitely not.
I
been
saw a
the
thing on
outrage
Twitter today
that
that looks
was
like
with
kind
Nintendo.
of Target got an influx of
Yeah.
SNES Classics. So if you've been hunting one down and haven't checked Target recently, I would encourage you to
check it
go check it out.
in the
um,
U.S. I don't
in the
know
US.
about other
Who
countries.
knows?
Whatever. You guys have the crappy looking one. It looks really cool.
It does.
I want it.
Feel free to ship us too. Bear in mind, if you decide to do this to your SNES Classic Mini, whatever, you could royally goof up your system if you
Yep.
do it wrong
And
and
brick it.
just lose everything you had entirely. You have an $80 paperweight sitting there in front of you.
It looks
Um,
cool. So
It does look cool. It'd be a nice desk ornament, but so do it at your own risk. Obviously, this is not endorsed by Nintendo.
Yeah.
So you do it if you feel comfortable with it and that's your thing. Like,
go for
more
it.
power
man.
to you. But if you're kind of like me and you depend on like friends for this kind of thing, then let your friends do it. And
you can be mad
make
at them
them sign a
when it doesn't
waiver.
work. Yep.
We did some paperwork for it. So branching out, this isn't really video game related. It's more kind of pop culture related. But
Yeah, we're hip with it, guys.
yeah, we're totally hip to what the kids are doing. But there was, if you hadn't heard, a recent promotion done by McDonald's in relation to Rick and Morty about Szechuan sauce. Is Rick's favorite sauce. I think it looks like he goes crazy for this stuff.
Yeah, he goes crazy.
And so they made like 3 big bottles of it a few months ago and like auctioned them off, or like they gave them to 3 people and then those people auctioned them off and it became a thing or whatever.
Right.
But McDonald's was running a promotion that was like, get a couple packets of Szechuan sauce and like a Rick and Morty poster. And tons and tons and tons of people showed up to McDonald's being like grossly understocked.
Right.
They didn't plan on enough people showing up. Like there was one restaurant that had like 20 packets of sauce and 10 posters. How's it going over there?
Timer didn't work, so you're just gonna have to remember what that
Trying
looked
to just like ignore it. But just your face as you were messing with the PowerPoint, like, nope.
All right, just ignore the slide.
But at some locations, like police intervention was required
Yep.
to come in and be like, kind of like quell the crowd and like push them back, be like, hey, like y'all got to get out of here. Like there's nothing we can do here. Like McDonald's didn't make enough. And they tweeted, McDonald's did, the best fans in the multiverse showed us what they got today. We hear you and we're sorry not everyone could get some super limited Szechuan. And obviously generates tons of replies to this whole thing.
Right.
And my favorite one is like, it's sauce. Why is it super limited? You're a global chain and making enough sauce for one day is too hard. At Wendy's would have crushed this.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of funny. I mean that's just how McDonald's is. You know, it's. I just don't get it. You have this huge opportunity, capitalize, get a bunch of people into your crappy restaurant, and you just bloop.
It's like,
drop
how
the ball.
hard would this have been?
Like it's not that you clearly know how to make it. You sent some to the creators of Rick and Morty. like that's what started all this back in like April. So I don't understand why this is like a difficult thing. They have a marketing department. They were paying attention. They've been really doing good. And then,
yep.
Did they just underestimate who would be excited for this?
No, but bear in mind, these are the people that like invented limited time foods.
That's
like
true.
the McRib.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like they bring back limited quantities of a thing everybody loves to like drive them into the restaurant. Maybe the thinking was that we bring them in and maybe some don't get sauce, but they're in here anyways and they'll spend money on food because they're here. Because who doesn't just buy food when you're at McDonald's? At least some fries. Right?
That's fair.
Like who doesn't do that?
I mean, I spend way too much money at McDonald's because McDonald's is great.
Yep. Agreed. I mean, usually when we'd podcast, it would be like I drop my wife off here and our wives go somewhere and I go get dinner. And usually I go to McDonald's because it's right down the road.
It's true, it is.
The article doesn't make light of the fact that people are so upset by this. I'm inclined to agree a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, everybody's got their kind of fandom, their big thing that they're into, whether it's sports or video games or movies or comics or whatever that you get upset by.
Yeah.
Random things like when you can't get it, like the Switch.
What's supply and demand?
Yeah, whatever. Although Julie, the writer of the article, does point out that the blame does mostly lie on McDonald's.
100%. There's no way that this was an unreasonable expectation to show up at a McDonald's and have sauce packets. It's stupid and dumb. Not that I care, because we were not like, I mean, Szechuan sauce was like 1998.
I think it was around when we were.
But that was not like a thing that we would remember. I mean, we were young kids.
Yeah,
so
6
whatever.
and 7.
I'll try it if I ever get the opportunity.
Yep.
Will I ever get the opportunity, Jake?
Maybe McDonald's has said they're bringing back Szechuan sauce after this whole event.
There you go.
But the fans of Rick and Morty are calling for boycotting McDonald's.
Get over it.
Over this whole issue.
Just get over it.
Yep.
They screwed up.
I get it at a
Move
certain
on.
point. It's
boycotting.
It's funny on this end of it because, we're sitting here like
it's something we don't care
This happens
about.
with the Switch and it's like, okay, we don't go to GameStop or we boycott developers for doing
when I
DLC.
boycott
and this kind
GameStop,
of
that's because they're a terrible business. It's not because of the
Truth.
Switch.
Yeah. And what kind of sucks the most about this whole thing is McDonald's did this, and the people that end up taking the brunt of it are the people that are making $9 an hour sitting behind the McDonald's counter.
Yeah,
or 15 depending on where you live.
Screaming at them. Yeah, it's awful. I mean, they said that they're going to come out, and when they have this event, whenever it is, it's going to be so big you can just go to your nearby McDonald's and get some sauce. So great, that works. I don't know why you didn't just do that the first time. Maybe next time do it in like cities, like pick a city, like say Kansas City, but do it in all the McDonald's, right? Don't just pick out like various ones.
There were some McDonald's that like the website said they were going to have it, or like some website said they were going to have it.
Yeah.
People went there and the employees knew nothing about it. They're like, we don't have any. We don't know what happened or why it said that, but there's none here.
Yeah, it's awful.
So it sucks. Poorly handled.
Yep.
Classic McDonald's. Disappointing and misleading in every way.
That's all right.
Yep. Moving on. Games coming out this week.
Yes.
Important games coming out this week.
Important games. We're not going to talk all of them.
Yeah, not all the games. We don't have that kind of time in our day. If you want to list all the games coming out this week, there's a link in the description below, and you can go and look and put them in the comments.
Look at everything.
I will not stop you, and we love you for it. But as we've already mentioned, Middle-earth: Shadow of War coming out October 10th.
Yep.
So that was Tuesday, a couple days ago. Xbox One, PS4, and PC. The Evil Within 2.
Gross. No thanks.
Yep.
Hard pass.
Friday the 13th. It comes out, well, that was poorly phrased on my part. Friday the 13th physical edition, the game, and Evil Within 2 come out on Friday the 13th. So
gotcha.
both
they
of
only
those.
have the digital release, I think, for.
Yep. It's only out on digital right now. Friday the 13th is. Evil Within will be on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Yep. Friday
the 13th is just PS4 and Xbox One for the physical release.
Yeah, because
it is on PC for digital already.
On PC doesn't use digital at this
point. They don't sell computers with disk drives anymore. So
that's right. Exactly.
Rightfully so. Who needs discs?
Yeah.
Every now and then in my line of work, people bring me like DVDs or CDs, and I point them the other way, and I say, "You come back to me with a Spotify playlist or a USB drive, and then we will talk."
Which is a perfectly reasonable expectation.
I do not have a CD player.
Plus,
up
you
here.
also don't have one. So.
Yep. But if you are new to the show or have not ever made it this far in the show, each week we wrap up going over the drop. If you don't know what the drop is a list of PlayStation games coming out for the week, put together by one Ryan Clements over at the PlayStation blog, at Plomsider on Twitter. If you want to tweet at him, it's love, hate, indifference. Don't hate.
Don't even care.
Be nice. He's a good
Whatever.
guy.
Obviously, headliners, Shadow of Mordor. We've talked about that extensively.
Shadow of War.
Shadow of War, even better than just Mordor, because Mordor was the first one.
Came out 3 years ago.
That's right. No big deal. All right, what are you seeing?
I am blown away that there's still like games releasing on Vita. Like hardcore crowd that Vita audience.
Yeah.
I have a Vita. I've put it down because now I have a Switch.
Right.
I can play things like
You're actually
Stardew
getting to play
Valley
games.
and Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey on the go.
Yep.
for
So Alteric. It's on PS4 and PS Vita. Jump through boiling lava, run from perilous traps and saw blades, glide and climb through catacombs, fall into the abyss and overcome gravity. And don't forget to switch to a parallel dimension in time because it's Alteric.
Oh, whatever that means.
That sounds really complicated. It makes me think of what was the game where you like on a
Fez?
cube? Yeah, it makes me think of Fez.
Yep.
It's probably a little bit more than that, but
A little bit.
whatever.
Always, sometimes monsters. PS4 digital.
Dumb name.
Out of money and out of luck, you find yourself heartbroken on the verge of collapse. Your landlord's taking the key back, you can't finish your manuscript, and your beloved is marrying someone else. With no choice but to handle whatever life throws at you, you set out on the open road on a mission to win back the love of your life.
I don't know what it is. What is it? 8-bit like side scroller? What are we talking here?
It looks like in the same vein. What was that game we played? Where you were like going through the floors, shooting back and forth.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name. It was a PlayStation Plus title.
Yeah. Super like 8-bit style.
Yep. There was
Kind of
like
thing.
political stuff in it too. It was weird.
Yep. I can't remember.
Bad Apple Wars looks like a cheap Persona 5.
It's Japanese AF.
Cyber Dimension Neptunia,
Neptunia?
4 Goddesses Online. That's more anime.
Echo. After a century of stasis, the girl E.N. arrives at her destination. A palace out of legend, a marvel of the old civilization, eons gone, still waits for boring descriptions and vague titles.
Yeah, Evil Within 2, we talked about it. It's the same detective from the first one. Yeah, it's
Ooh.
a sequel.
VR, here we go. PSVR for you
Uh-oh.
VR fans out there. The Invisible Hours. The Invisible Hours is a complex murder mystery in VR in which players
Ooh.
freely explore the intricate web of interwoven stories within a sprawling mansion.
That actually sounds like it'd be a cool
That
place
does
for
sound like
VR.
it'd be.
I'm not a big on
fascinating
murder
to play.
mysteries, but that'd probably be a good one.
I
to use
am.
it
I
for.
did play a Sherlock Holmes
Mhm.
game. I forget the subtitle of the game on PS3, and I enjoyed the crap out of
I
it.
think I remember that. I'm not going to try and pronounce that one. Just gonna-
Radial G Racing Evolved
Yeah,
PSVR.
That's the one. I can pronounce that one.
Racing Revolved. Sorry. Climbing the cockpit of a futuristic racecraft and racing VR. That's essentially what it is.
Anti-gravity track, Jake. You missed the best part.
Oh no! If you want to race in VR, you should get Gran Turismo because it's probably a better racing game than this game.
Raid.
Really,
World
what this
War
is
II.
just like us hating on games that aren't like AAA titles.
That's true. We are pretty awful. Raid World War II is an action-packed tactical 4-player cooperative shooter set during. Where do you think it's set, Jake? That's right. World War II.
What?
A stupid description. Why are you going to put the setting in the title and in the description twice? Stupid.
Raw Data VR? Say VR title.
Oh, look at that.
Built from the ground up for VR, Raw Data's action combat gameplay, intuitive controls, challenging enemies, and sci-fi atmosphere will completely immerse you within the surreal environments of Eden Core.
You know, I got to hand it to Sony. They continued to pump out PSVR titles.
They are giving you stuff, and it kind of looks like they're slowly leveling up VR titles.
Which is exactly what we thought we'd do. They've got a big VR sale going on right now. Pretty much any VR game they have that's worth its salt is on sale for 40% or 60% off for PlayStation Plus members.
Yep.
So go check it out. Something like Farpoint's on sale. All the big names are. So if you have a VR and are somehow not buying games for it, now is your chance.
Shame on you.
Revolve. Revolve is a physics-based action platformer. You have no direct control and need to use boosts, gravity, and momentum to escape a dystopian world. I'm pretty dystopian about that. Did I use
Son
that
of
word right?
Scoregasm. PS Vita. Out the 11th.
Nope.
Only you can destroy the evil space baddies and rescue the king of Earth's beloved biscuit tin.
Oh my gosh.
Battle your way through 28. All 28.
Oh,
varied levels
man.
full of enemies, traps, lasers, and explosions.
Thank goodness they're varied levels. I hate if they were just repeating themselves.
Boy, that's
Square
That's a
Boy
thing.
versus Bullies. Old school beat 'em up by a person that follows the titular Square Boy. Oh, you know Square Boy, right?
classic Square Boy.
Classic Square.
Distant cousin of Sackboy.
Not very related to SpongeBob,
Yep.
though. Different
White
guy.
Noise 2. I feel like We talked about white noise not that long ago.
It sounds familiar.
I don't know. Be part of an investigator team or take control of the creature and devour them. White Noise 2 offers a 4-on-1 asymmetric horror experience that won't leave anyone unmoved.
It was either that one or we talked about another 4-on-1.
It was another
experience.
asymmetric multiplayer.
Gross.
Yeah, why the asymmetric multiplayer?
I mean, it's a cool concept. We just can't.
Unless it's like you play as a monster and fight 4 computers, or you can play with your buddies.
Yeah, it's only online stuff for
weird.
that. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I know you've been waiting for this to come out on PlayStation Video, so you didn't have to go to the theater. Emoji Movie.
Oh man,
It's out this week. That's right.
speaking of polar opposites of the Emoji Movie, War of the Planet of the Apes.
That is one that I will be watching.
I will watch
extensively.
the fur off of that.
Yeah. It's funny because it's about monkeys. I don't know if you knew that.
Dude, it's cool. I saw a video from New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
Was because they do the way they do performance capture now. It's not called motion capture anymore. It's called performance capture
Ooh,
because of how much better it's gotten. You're not just capturing the motion of the bodies.
that's fair.
You're capturing like facial animations and
Breathing.
and audio and breathing and all this stuff. And the way it used to go is like they would wear white dots that ping to a bunch of cameras looked for the dots on the person. Now the dots on the person look for the camera.
Ooh, that's
And
pretty
so
cool.
it makes it way more accurate. So in real time,
That's why they look so good.
in real time, they can sit there at New York Comic Con, have a guy with a camera, have a projection screen, and a guy wearing a performance capture suit. He's walking around on stage. You see him walking on the floor, and you see the monkey walking on the screen. Now it's a low poly version of it. It's
Right.
the pre-render versions that you see if you ever watch like VFX builds. I probably watch those more than the average person, but you just see like the super like smooth versions of it, but you see like wow, like it's instant. You see the world, like they've built a little world behind them and a monkey walking around in it. It's so cool.
That is pretty cool.
It is amazing what they've done with
Nerd.
technology. And speaking of amazing, our podcast has come to an end, ladies and gentlemen.
What a transition.
Segues for days. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing, telling your friends, and all that good stuff. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. Tweet at us at IR Games. We're on Twitter. We're on there all the time. We see things. We read the comments. We read the tweets. We
Tweeting.
respond back, and we make changes accordingly. Should we? Whoa. Maybe we're going to change microphones because I clearly can't handle myself. But with that, we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Bye.